What's up, guys? It's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Long time no see. And the big reason why we're seeing each other this evening is because we have our Fated Summon list that has been leaked. It's been leaked about 2 weeks ahead of time, which is absolutely ridiculous, which is also pretty cool because it gives us the chance to figure out whether or not we want to wait until the new Fated Summon or whether we want to just, blow our 100 pulls or whatever it is that you're holding on to right now. We do have our list, though. I will put it up on the screen right now. And it's a pretty good list. I mean, there are a lot of heroes in here which were super duper desirable. But is it a really good list for now, for 2025? Or are SG trying to be a little bit sneaky with this list? So we're going to go through these heroes. We'll have a look. We'll break them down. We'll see what I think. We'll see what you guys think. Obviously, let me know in the comments what you guys do think. But let's get right into it. So we'll go down the list right from the left to right, all the way down the list as we normally do. And we're starting off with a really, really desirable hero when she came out, and that is Zenobia. Zenobia, she just looks incredible, doesn't she? Like, she is the personification of the underworld. But at the same time, she's got a really, really cool special and a very unique special. So what is she there for? The main reason you want this hero is for Titans. So if you like to slay Titans, if you like to do super damage against Titans, then Zenobia, there's nobody better than Zenobia for that. So she does 320% damage to the enemies on the edges of the enemy formation. Obviously, if there's one enemy alive, the damage is doubled, but she's not really there for the hit. The main thing is the second part of her special. I'll read it out. So it says, when an attacking hero casts the special, the shields become enhanced. All the fire shields become enhanced with 64% increased attack. A defending hero casts the special, negative 57% attack. You're not really focused on the defending hero. The main reason she's there is just to boost tiles. So if you like to hit Titans, she's not a bad choice. If you're not really that interested in hitting Titans, and just a reminder, I have seen on the forum, and this is a for real leak. There are going to be 15-star Titans coming out pretty soon. They are testing them in beta. So you might want to work a little bit on those rough edges around your Titan teams. I'm just saying. So Zenobia is a pretty decent hit. Now, as far as costumes are concerned, Zenobia's costume's too recent to be featured in the current outfitter. You are going to wait at least 6 months. So if you're thinking about, oh, I'll pick Zenobia up and I'll get her costume, you're not going to be able to do that. Unfortunately, guys, you're going to have to wait another 6 months until she's going to become available. So yeah, she will be available at some point, but it's still, that's what you got to wait. So we'll move on to our next hero in the row, and that is my man, Philas Fog. So Philas Fog, he's not a bad hero at all. The massive plus side is that you will be able to pick his costume up in the costume outfitter. So you will actually be able to do that pretty much straight away when the outfitter comes around, if you don't have anybody else in line with a costume that's 18 months or less older. A lot of you guys have been saying we wish we'd see the costume outfitter more often. I completely agree. I really wish that we'd see it more often. But for now, you will be able to pick up Fog's costume in the outfitter. So the base version that you will get here is a priority dispel. So running at fast speed, it's a priority dispel from the target, and it's 420% damage to the target, but it's also negative 58% defense against nature, and it also lasts for 4 turns. So stats aside, that is one of the biggest defense downs that you get against nature. It also lasts for the longest period of time, and it's also running at fast speed. So if you can see a theme here in terms of heroes, these are pretty damn good Titan heroes so far that we've got. The first 2 heroes in the first row at least. But other than that, yeah, I think Fog's pretty good because the priority dispel is actually really nice. I do have him maxed, and I do use him a lot for the priority dispel at fast speed, but then he does only dispel a single target. And if you don't have the costume, then the stats are getting a little bit dated. So I would watch out in terms of, picking Philas Fog from this list. I think, yeah, he's a good hero, but there's probably better heroes on this list. So let's move on to our next hero on the list, which is actually a really, really good hero. So this is Morel. In case you guys don't know, he's been like an absolute staple in some of the top defenses when he came out. Granted, he probably came out now, we're talking about 2.5 years ago. So he's definitely feeling it. Maybe even a bit longer. I actually lose track of time. But a fast speed hit all that gives defense down to all. That is what he is. It's pretty straightforward. His hit is not super duper hard, but he does give that defense down, which means that the rest of your team can capitalize on that. And the other bit of good news is that Morel's costume is going to be available in the outfitter. Now, the costume for Morel, really good, fighter class. His damage is slightly decreased, but he's, funnily enough, become like some kind of healer where he gives health generation in his costume. It isn't much health generation, but the main thing you want with the stats, with the costumes, is the stats. So if you do pick up a copy of Morel, if you've always wanted him, he is still a good hero for giving the whole team defense down at fast speed. So he can pair up really well with other heroes, but just bear in mind that he does lack in the stats department. So you're probably going to need to be thinking about picking up a costume or two from the outfit. I would say two, but that's going to take you another however many months. It could be every 6 months. It could be every 3 months. We don't know at the moment. We are pushing in the background. Like, I know I've messaged SG myself. I want it to be every 2 months. Personally, I know a lot of people would want it to be every month, but I don't know if I could keep up with that, to be fair. But definitely to see the costume outfitter come in more will definitely make these heroes a lot more relevant that we have in the Fated Summon. But so far, not so bad, to be honest. Next hero is going to be another Season 4 hero, and that is Auda. I think that's how you say her name. She is a sniper, and I don't really like her. I've never really liked her. I don't think my opinion on her is going to change. I think there's some people that sort of swear by this hero, but she's a pretty okay sniper running at fast speed, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about her. Her costume is actually available from the visiting outfitter, but it just, I mean, it doesn't make sense. So the base version, 450% damage snipe to the target at fast speed, extra 500 damage if the target has boosted health. So yeah, you get an extra damage just for a single target. The costume version, 250% damage to the target, extra 1140 damage if the target has boosted health. So it's okay, but like, why would you lose, 250% damage so that you can do an extra 500 damage? It's like the same damage, isn't it? I think it's the same damage when you look at the costume and you look at the original. I'm just saying, like, it seems really nonsensical, but that is what you get. So I would probably steer clear of Auda, however you say her name. The last hero in the row is going to be my girl Hilda, Miss Piggy, gone to tea. She is just like the most out of place hero that I've ever seen, like a pig mole cross. But actually really good if you have her costume. Again, it's a case of if you have her costume, and unfortunately she's one of the more recently released. I think it was March 2024. So you're going to have to wait about 7 months or so, 7 to 8 months to be able to get the costume for Miss Piggy. But she is okay. I mean, she summons this lava minion for each ally. Minions are kind of meta at the moment. The minion recovers it says 11% health on the card I'm looking at, but I'm pretty sure the costume's a heck of a lot more. And it gives mana generation to its owner as long as they have the minions. So the increased mana generation, coupled with the increased defense that the minion gives as well, plus that healing that you're getting every turn, can make her really tricky and really good to keep your team around a bit longer. Now we have mega minions and things like that, so I think they are kind of taking pride of place at the moment, but still, Hilda, I would say she's a really good healer, a really fun healer. And if you have other heroes that can take advantage of generated minions, then she's super duper fun to play with. So out of the first row, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you want Titan killers, then it's got to be Zenobia or Philas Fog. If you want somebody who's pretty much an all-rounder, then Morel, but you have to get his costume. From this first row, I would say, for me, Morel is probably the best hero. When it comes to raids and wars, he's the hero that you'll use the most, but you do need to sacrifice one slot to be able to get hold of that costume for Morel. So let's move on to our second row of heroes, and these are primarily heroes of the month that we've got in here. The first one is a absolute favorite of mine, and if you don't have this hero of the month and you never got her, I would strongly, strongly recommend, even though she doesn't have a costume and it's super unlikely she'll get one. And if she does get one, you'd have to wait 18 months to be able to get her up to speed. She is still a good hero. So who am I talking about? Obviously, it's Ruffian and Nergib. She's probably the best hero of the month that we've had since, geez, I don't even know when. Probably Divana was another really good one, but Ruffian and Nergib's just in a league all of her own. So let's take a look. So first of all, what she does, she's running at fast speed. She steals 50% mana from the target. So whoever you hit, if they're at full mana, she chops them down by 50%. That's super duper useful. It's really fun against Titans, actually. She works almost like a mini time stop, but we're not talking about Titans. For raids and wars, that can be so effective. Stealing that mana and giving it to your team can be the difference between average speed heroes getting charged at technically fast speed and having to wait for an extra 1 or 2 tiles, which can be the difference between life and death a lot of the time. So that is awesome. She deals 420% damage to the target. That's been increased now up to, I think, 500% on the initial strike. And it says the more health the enemy has, the more damage they receive, up to 600%. Now, that is in the right order. When do you want an enemy to take more damage? When they've got more health, right? You want them to take as much damage as possible. She does it in the right order. And then the element link gives all fire allies 5% dodge chance for 4 turns. But that's not the best part about her. She regenerates mana when she's healed as well, so she comes around faster. She charges your team up quicker. She is just an absolutely awesome, awesome support hero, attacking hero, whatever you want to call it. She will keep your team alive and she will win you some battles pretty much on her own. So despite the stats are a bit dated. You can work around that with limit breaks and emblems and things like that. But I would not sleep on Ruffian and Nergib. If you don't have her, trust me, she's a great hero. The next hero we've got in the row, unfortunately, I can't say the same about this dude, Veselius or Vasilis. He's an okay minion destroyer. He destroys minions from the target nearby, deals 260% damage to the target nearby, and then the target nearby get poison damage over 4 turns. It's really pretty terrible, to be honest. He's running at average speed. It's not enough damage. Destroying minions from the target nearby is not enough. You need to destroy minions from an entire team nowadays, or if not, you need to be doing special things against mega minions to be relevant. This guy just pretty much sucks. So I would stay clear of Veselius unless you want an absolute headache on your hands. And loads of heroes resist poison, just as part of their family bonus. Anyway, stay away from Veselius. Next hero, Uzuna. To me, Uzuna, it's a bit of a weird one. Like, I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship because initially I fed her away. And then folks started saying, like, actually, have you tried using this hero? She's actually really good. And you know what? She is. She just is. Like, let's look at her specials. So she has a priority cleanse, which is very unusual. But she cleanses status elements just from the caster and nearby. And that's initially why I was like, do I want this hero for cleanse to the caster and nearby? I don't really see it. But then the rest of her special, the caster and the nearby allies reflect status ailments and negative stacks for 3 turns. Not many heroes reflect negative stacks. The only other hero I know of that reflects negative stacks, and I kind of came about it bit by accident, is, I think, and I'm going out on a limb here because I'm pretty sure this is right, but Knuckles, the 4-star from the Jungle family, he actually is one that reflects stacks as well, but it's so uncommon that when you do need them, and there are some more stack heroes in here, like the Magic family heroes and things like that, they're returning a bit. I'm pretty sure stacks being in the game. They may have gone to sleep a little bit, but they're a sleeping giant, trust me, and they will return. And when they do, Suzuna's value is going to go up no end. So she's cleansing and she's giving a reflected negative stacks and status ailments for 3 turns. And then the caster and the nearby allies are regenerating 600 HP over 3 turns. Again, this is why I didn't really like her, because I prefer a massive heal rather than, or a percentage heal rather than a health boost. I'm still a proponent of that, or whatever you would say, but I do still like this hero, and I do still think that she's super usable. Maybe, who knows, maybe they'll change it around to where she gets a percentage heal one day, but that general reflect and cleanse is such a useful skill. She is still a decent hero. She has Fiend Resist as a passive. I don't know whether that works against Mega Fiends. We haven't even seen Mega Fiends, but I know they're coming. If it does, then again, her value and things like that are going to go up. So maybe like a second or third choice from this, but definitely Ruffian and Nergib. Next guy on our list is Gilligan, sorry, from one of the Munchkins from the island. From Gilligan's Island. So yeah, he's just a weird kind of hero. Like, a lot of people sort of swear by him and say that he can do good things, but I have yet to see him do any good things. I just think it's a weird hero to try and play with, because 300% damage to the target nearby really is a fast speed special. The 60% chance to bypass it's a 60% chance, so there's a 40% chance it won't. And then giving all allies defense is just really crappy. He's relying on his passives, and the passives give him mana based on the amount of buffs that I think the enemy has. But it's just something weird that you can't really even plan for. And yeah, you can get him firing off quick, but I just think he's too much work for a hero that is definitely subpar. So stay away from Gilligan as well. Turuk. Okay, so Turuk is another one that kind of goes under the radar for me. A lot of people enjoy playing with Turuk. I'm not really sold on Turuk. I feel like it takes too long to get to where you need to be. So there's only really ever going to be use, maybe some niche use against Mythic Titans, to where you want to decrease the defense down against everything. So you get that stack. All damage the target receives is increased by 5%. Get a maximum of 10 stacks. But why would I not just like put that on Franz and get it all in one go, 50%? I don't see it with Turuk. It takes too long to get there. So yeah, I'm not going to advise that you pick Turuk, but I know that she does have some kind of weird niche uses. And I kind of like the art on the card for Turuk. I felt like we were going in a certain direction there, maybe like a Raid Shadow Legends-esque direction, dare I say it. But yeah, pretty cool looking hero. Next on our list, so Lena. Love the way that name sounds. She is from, obviously, the Knights family, so we are seeing the Knights being released. This is the old Clash of Knights heroes, nobody from the new Clash of Knights heroes, and we've just started seeing the Clash of Knights heroes get costumes. So again, if you're waiting for somebody's costume, and you're looking at these heroes in terms of, I'm going to take one and then I'm going to get the costume from the outfitters, let me break it to you softly. You're going to wait a year and a half. 18 months is how long you're going to wait with that hero sitting in your roster. So you better be sure that you better be 110% sure that nothing else better is going to come around during that time, because that is the reality of it. 18 months, 18 long months of sitting. So let's look at these heroes as they are today. So Lena, I do like her. Okay, having said that, I do like her. I think she's cool. I think running at fast speed and hitting everybody is pretty awesome. Blocking the talent skill activation is not as awesome. Do you know what I wish she would do? Is I wish they would switch it to block passives. Block all these horrible passives that are going on. Bring out a hero that blocks passives, or make Lena block passives, and then people will pick her. I know it's Fated Summon, so it's mainly directed towards the free-to-play and cheap-to-play among us, but that is myself. So I wish that they would do something like that, because the passives are becoming as strong as some of the original special skills, but that's a rant for a whole nother day. So Lena, yeah, she's pretty cool if you want to damage all, but you're not really going to take advantage of blocking heroes' talent skills. Just trust me, it might sound good, but it's not going to serve you very well. Next hero from the Knights is going to be Quinnell. Now, Quinnell has just had her costume released. So like I said before, it's probably been a month since it's been released. So again, it's going to be a long wait. But in Quinnell's case, it may just be worth it. And here's why. I have Quinnell. I have her second limit broken. No, sorry, first limit broken. I don't want to tell a lie. I have her first limit broken, and I still use her all the time. I use her to play through map stages and things like that because she increases the damage on her special skill. Paired up with another nature hero, she's actually really good. I also use her on my war attack teams alongside somebody who gives defense down. You just have to time it right with Quinnell. So stats-wise, she's going to be a little bit more dated. But as far as her special, here's what she does. So 320% damage to the target nearby at fast speed. Not a bad hit at fast speed. Then the caster gets an additional 40% power for the next special skill they cast, but the power increases by an extra 40% every turn. So if you wait it out, granted it's a few turns, but the next time you strike, you could be doing a whole 500% damage to 3 enemies, which is humongous. It gets up to a maximum. I think they increased it actually up to a maximum of 500, was 200%. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely at least an extra 200% power to your special skill. So I think she's still a good pick from this portal. She's absolute beast mode when she gets going, and especially if you're a relatively new player, she is going to enhance your roster to no end. So yeah, Quinnell's a pretty good pick. Next one on the list is Esme. So Esme I'm torn about because I really liked Esme when she came out, and now I'm starting to like her even more, if that's possible. So the reasons I'm liking Esme is that, number one, she destroys all fiends from all allies. Fiend destroyers are few and far between. It's not conditional. She just destroys fiends from all allies. And you know, and I know that at some point, if you don't have a fiend destroyer, you are going to need one on your team. And I feel like that day is coming. But she also now has this extra little caveat where fiend destroyers do extra damage against mega fiends. So when the mega fiends come in, you're going to need a hero that's doing extra damage. The other bit about her that I like is that she's a proper healer. So she recovers 40% health for all allies. 40% health is a pretty huge health recovery, and it doesn't matter about stats because, as I've said before, if you got a Von Rothbart on your team with an HP of 2,700 or whatever it is, 40% of that is still going to be a 40% of that massive amount. So when she triggers her heal, she's going to be healing it up by 40%, and the same goes for every single other ally on your team. So it's a massive heal. It can potentially be a really good skill to destroy fiends. So I think that she might be one to consider. Maybe not as a first pick, maybe a second pick, but certainly she's one that I'm definitely eyeing up and down, but not for those reasons. Anyways, next hero that we've got is pretty much the flip of her. So it's Eloise, and Eloise is going to destroy all minions from all enemies and deal 270% damage to all enemies. If an enemy had minions, they're immune to new minions for 4 turns. So I didn't mention with Esme, if an ally had fiends, then they get immunity to fiends for the next 4 turns, which is also strong. But I think Esme's a heck of a lot stronger than Eloise because Eloise doesn't have a heal. She just does 270% damage to all enemies, and 270% of 800 or whatever her attack stat is not that much in today's day and age. I'd much rather have a healer that is a minion destroyer or a fiend destroyer than I would a below average attacker that is doing the same thing. So for that reason, I definitely pick Esme over Eloise. Now let's move on to our last hero in the Clash of Knights, and that is the man of the hour. Honestly, so many people that did not pick this guy up in a soul exchange when he was featured for 15 souls will be absolutely kicking themselves right now. And the guy I'm talking about is this guy, Ludwig. He is a beast. He is probably the most controversial hero that's been released into Empires and Puzzles that went totally under the radar. And he is an absolute must for anybody's roster. If you don't have Ludwig, you have to, I mean, I'm telling you now, I never do this, but I'm telling you, pick Ludwig if you don't have him. If you do have him, go ahead and consider picking somebody else. Do not pick him because you think his costume's coming out soon and you're going to be able to grab it from the outfitters, or you're going to be able to summon like crazy. If you're going to summon like crazy, then just summon like crazy and get it from the portal. This is for the free to play and cheap to play. You need Ludwig in your roster. He will absolutely change your game. He will make it so much easier for you to breeze through map stages, quests, towers, you name it. Anything where you need to fire off multiple times. You don't want to have to worry about tiles. You want to be able to put things on autoplay. He's excellent. Rush Wars, he's excellent. That auto taunt, that skill where he boosts the mana of the nearby, he's excellent. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to read over his special, all right? So for those of you who do, sorry for boring you to death, but the caster gets taunt. You have to have a taunt hero. He gets the auto taunt, as I've said, with the ether talent. So that's if you put the second limit breaks, which you definitely will want to do with this guy. But he gets taunt that prevents the enemies from using special skills, and he gets taunt for 6 turns. Now, during those 6 turns, the caster gets 84% defense against special skills. So he gets his stance on, he gets stocky. And then every single turn, the nearby allies receive a moderate amount of mana. The amount of mana they get goes up and up and up every single turn until on the last turn they get 100% mana. You can probably fire off 3 or 4 specials within that time if you get enough tiles on the board. And by then it is game over. So taunt, plus he's boosting the mana of the allies nearby. He's very tricky to work against because you have to dispel him, and then you have to dispel the mana increase effect from the enemies on either side of him. It's a insane hero that will increase your gameplay and your fun no end. So if you don't have him, get him. I've spoken enough about Ludwig. He is hands down, I'm going to say it now, my top pick from this new Fated Summon bunch. And I'm so glad he's in there. With or without costume, doesn't matter to me. He's still a fantastic hero. And I know most of you guys who have him will share that sentiment. So let us move on. And I believe that we are into the last row now. And we're starting off with a bang. A basketball bang. And that is my man, Ray. And Ray is freaking cool, man. Like, I was so lucky to get Ray when he came out in the Magic Summon. And I grabbed him, and I actually got Willow at the same time. And I must tell you guys, I hardly ever use Willow, but I always go back to Ray. He is a staple on my fire attack team. He is just so good. He's got the quickest dispel in the whole entire game. So let's read over what he does. So he's not a priority dispel. First of all enemies receive 402 burn damage. You can get that up. You just increase his attack stat through the roof, and it goes up through the roof as well. Now, all enemies also get negative 34% defense against fire. So he can be used against Titans to give the elemental defense down. But after that, he dispels buffs from all enemies. And that is running at like 5 tiles. 2 tile matches, and you've got a dispel ready to go. And how often do you need that? Like, the fire dispellers have come out, like you've got Blossom. You know, I have to wait the extra turn for Blossom. Ray is still my go-to man for a dispel, and he's so good at it. He dispels the entire team. More often than not, he's not doing a boatload of damage. So unless they've got a Reflect Up or an Ailment Protect, you're going to be okay. Counter attack, forget about it, doesn't matter. They're still going to get the burn damage. They're still going to get the elemental defense down. So yeah, he's such a good hero, such a great part of an attack stack. And on his second charge, he actually increases the attack against nature. So again, you can use him for that against Titans if you're trying to be like really smart and get a super high score. But he's also got a really good heal. So he's a healer, a slow speed healer over time. But when you need it, it's so useful. And on top of that, Ray gets that awesome magic passive. So he is the only one of these magic heroes that is the actual new magic family that you would want. They give the negative mana generation passive. So it's a negative 5% mana stack every time they cast this special on the entire team, guaranteed. And it's on a single hero, sorry. So they give a stack of negative 5% mana generation. They can go up to 10 stacks, which is negative 50% mana generation. He also has the secondary passive, which gives him a 50% chance to grant the whole team 10% mana, just like that, when he casts his special. Melena has that as well. It's a super duper hard to come by passive, but Melena doesn't get the negative mana generation stack, which is really, really good. I wouldn't probably recommend playing Ray on defense, but he really can slow a team down if you get him firing off multiple times. Before you know it, you're expecting them to charge and they're just not. And that's because of Ray. He's a single-handed slam dunking, amazing mamma jamma. He's just a great, great hero. So I definitely recommend Ray. In fact, I might even recommend him over Ludwig. If you don't have Ray and you do have Ludwig, take Ray. We're already getting a list together, but like so far, those are the top two. Easily, hands down the top two. Now let's go on to our next hero in the Magic family. Unfortunately, I'm not so stoked on this guy, Cristobal. I'm going to tell you right away, he is not the greatest hero. So let's have a look what he does. First mana charge, 235% damage to the target, 470 if the target has less than 50% health. When is that going to happen on your first charge at 6 tiles that he's got less than 50% health? Especially if it's like, you know, Frank Fangs or another Mega Minion summoner that you're going up against. It's just not going to happen. Anyways, it hardly ever triggers. Second charge, 200% damage to all enemies, 400% damage if the target has more than 50% health remaining. That can work. It can be good. Only downside is his stats are pretty damn terrible, and he is somebody that works primarily off of damage. You want damage dealers to have the best stats. You cannot get that with this guy. I just wouldn't bother. And like I said before, if we do see the Magic heroes getting a costume, it's going to be about a million years before that costume is ready to go. So stay away from Cristobal. Next, Melena. Okay, Melena is a fantastic hero. She's probably a hero that many of us will have wanted, and she was actually featured in one of the more controversial soul exchanges where it was, I think, Melena versus Arco at 20 souls. I chose Melena. I have no regrets in choosing Melena. However, I do think as time has progressed, Arco's probably come out as being the hero with a little bit more longevity. So a lot of people, you're going to hate me for saying that, but I do still love Melena. She's got that super duper fast speed cleanse. So again, like I was saying with Ray, you've got Ray with that super fast speed dispel, Melena with the super fast speed cleanse. You got a chance for 10% mana to the entire team with either one of them. And on Melena's second charge, it's a team-wide dispel and nearly 400% damage to all enemies, which is just brutal. Just honestly, the best of all worlds with Melena. And that cleanse and heal, it's a bit of a downer that it's only a 20% heal. Sometimes you need a lot more. But as I said before, 20% of 2,000 is still 400 or whatever it is. It's still going to be a percentage heal rather than a heal for a specific amount. So yeah, she's a great, great hero. Cleanser and Dispeller all in one neat, tidy, pretty damn good looking package. Next one. So we're on to our last two heroes here. And I'll be totally honest with you up front. I don't think either of these heroes are going to be worth going for. So Matega, he summons minions on his first charge. They're not meaty, beefy minions. What do? They give a damage increase effect. So they give damage increase by 20%. You could probably say you could work him in like on a Holy Titan team where he increases the damage, or, you know, you could pair him up with some other heroes so that he increases their damage. But as a hero on his own, he's not really doing that much. The minions aren't really that big of an irritation. And I've never found him very difficult to fight on defense. Sorry, in fact, none of the Magic heroes are super difficult to fight on defense. So yeah, I would stay away from him. Second one is the Fiend. The Fiend, what does it do? Negative accuracy. I mean, get a goblin, man. Like it's that easy. But no, the negative accuracy is really not going to do that much for you. And honestly, by the time you get there at slow speed, it's too slow. The rest of your team are probably going to be dead already, and then it's not really worth it. So I would stay away from Matega. He was good once, but unfortunately his time has come and gone. And then the final hero that we have in the portal is another hero that I think was featured in a soul exchange not that long ago for 20 souls, and folks were going mental about her. Not me. I've never been a huge fan of her, but it is Grafina. And I think she's supposed to have been like the original face of the magic portal. I know Mr. Spock at one point was super like stoked about her, and he tried using her in quite a few different battles in quite a few different ways, and sadly it didn't work. And I think that's the problem with her, is that the problem with the heroes where you need to get them to second charge. I mean, Becky's a good example. Becky's actually got a good first charge, but the second charge is where you want it to be, and it just becomes super duper difficult. Willow's another good example. Her second charge is incredible. First charge is pretty meh. And Grafina is no different. First charge, all enemies get negative 15% attack and 15% defense, and 159 poison damage. That's like nothing. So you might as well wait. But then you have to wait for a slow speed hero. And then at slow speed, she's giving 50% attack, 63% defense. I think she actually now gets the scaling attack, and that's not what's on this card. But still, anything you could do at the second charge other than wiping a team completely would not be good enough at that speed. So I really would advise against both Grafina and also Matega from this list. So that's every single hero that is on the list. So I hope that you guys have found this helpful so far. We'll break it down. So I'll bring the list back up now. I'll go through each of my top picks from each row. So first row, pretty easily, I'm going to say it's got to be Morel, but then you have to get that costume. If it's not Morel, and if you don't want the costume, it would be one of the other Titan heroes from that row. Zenobia for the increase in the tiles, or Philas Fog for the priority dispel, and then the negative defense down against nature. If you are more early, I would say Philas Fog will probably serve you better than Zenobia will. Right, so Morel from the first row has got to be the top pick. Second row, Ruffian and Nergib all day long. No doubt in my mind at all about the fact that you should definitely pick her up if you have never had her before. And she is fantastic. Third row is going to be Ludwig all day long. Just the easiest pick in the world. And then I'd say a close second would be between Quinel and Esme, depending on what you feel you're going to need. If you need a nice meaty healer, Esme is actually really good. Her theme destruction is going to come into play quite a lot, I think, in the future. And if you just want to do some upfront damage and get it rolling to where you're doing increasing damage all the time, Quinel is your girl. And then the last row, I mean, Ray, hands down, the best hero from this bunch, other than Ludwig if you don't have him. So, yeah, in order, it would be Ludwig first and then Ray. You have to pick Ludwig if you don't have him. But Ray is absolutely incredible. And then the lovely Melena. I mean, yeah, I'd probably put her just after Ludwig. But from the top row, it would definitely be between those two. So, in summary, we have an absolutely incredible list of heroes here. The only thing which I think, and I said this initially, which I think SG may have been a bit sneaky, is that this list that we have here is not the list that it could have been. And I'll tell you what I mean. So every single one of us know that we've got the visiting outfitters now. But what we don't have is the heroes that we really, really want those costumes for. And I think that's a bit of a tactic, but it's also pretty sneaky and pretty sly. You could have excluded some of these terrible heroes like Philas and like Auda and a couple of the others that you put in here. And you could have given us somebody like Perseus, just the plain old Perseus, or Hell, just the plain old Hell, because then you know that in a couple of months' time, we'll be able to grab the costume. Or maybe next month we'll be able to grab the costume and you'll have an incredible hero. And why would you not let your players do that? So that is my biggest gripe with this. And if any single person from SG is ever listened to me say something, that is the biggest gripe that I've got with this list. And that is what you need to change, is you need to cater to the players, and then the players will cater to you. It's a reciprocal relationship. It always has been. Most of us have been playing the game for years now, and there are a lot of passionate people in this game. I don't think it's too much to ask for a decent hero for the free to play and cheap to play every now and then. Anyways, that is what I think they should have done with the list. But that being said, I don't think it's a bad list at all. I think there are some absolutely incredible heroes on this list. So don't let that be a downer to you. Please do let me know in the comments what you guys think, and let me know who your first picks are going to be when the list comes out. I'm super interested. I'm excited for myself. I've got no idea who I'm going to pick at the moment because I got Ray, I got Ludwig. I don't know if I want a second Ludwig because then, you know, I might pull the costume and I'll have 3 Ludwigs. What am I going to do with 3? I don't know. But yeah, there's some other interesting heroes in there that I might go for. So let me know who your pick's going to be. Do drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't subscribed already. Why are you not subscribed? You should subscribe. Fuck, I hate doing that. But anyways, drop us a subscription. We do have memberships on the channel as well. So if you enjoy the content, if you like what's on the channel, then the memberships are a really awesome way to support me. We have 2 different tiers. The first one is literally only £3 a month or $2.99 a month. Just gets you some access to some priority responses to comments. The second tier, that is where you get one-on-one interactions where I'll help you with things that you have, questions, personal questions that you might have about your roster and how to advance your rosters in the game, and just a little bit of one-to-one chat. And then also obviously shout outs on the channel. So as I'm doing this, massive shout out to all of my members. I really do appreciate you. And without you guys, the channel would not be what it is today. So thank you to every single one of you guys who are watching. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now, guys. Peace.